Hey, Michael Ajeto. Hey,
Hey,
buddy.
Nick.
It's gonna be. Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. Oh my lord.
I'm just trying to be like Ellen. By the way,
We're
am I
all trying
echoing
to be like
at
Ellen.
all?
Uh, what's that?
Am I echoing at all?
No, it's probably me. I probably
Okay.
have echo.
All right. Cool.
All right. So a couple things before we get to yours. We gotta rally, guys. We are about just under $3,000 short of our goal of 10,000. Okay. And I understand, we did this, we made it work in May last year. I think we can do it here, okay? Go to the link below, go.rallyup.com/pitchcon. We have some amazing, amazing prizes we want to give away. So please consider doing it. Remember, this half of everything we raise is going to Feeding America. This entire event was about raising money for this. Let's make it worthwhile. It's 4 days, 46 hours of baseball content we've created for you guys. We hope we can hit that $10,000 goal. Please help us get there. Every little bit helps. Let people know. Bring them in. Would you agree with that, Ajeto?
I think I'd agree with that.
That's good. But you're saying no. Okay. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna talk about your top 100. I haven't seen it. I'm aware of like two guys that you've been aggressive about.
Mm.
That's about it. You're not sharing anything, so I can't even share
Well, I was
on the
waiting.
screen.
I wanted you
Okay,
to
well,
talk
no.
about.
I'll push it up. Just share it.
All right. All right. Share screen. I'm just trying to.
I've
let you
really been
talk
looking
about
forward to
feeding
this.
America.
I've been looking. Yeah, you're a giant. That's what everyone's saying because my man, that SM57 looks so small.
I am. Yeah, it actually isn't a tiny mic. It's actually a completely normal sized mic.
Wow.
I'm just a growing boy.
Yeah. So are you 5'8"? Is that what's going on?
Are you saying
Sorry,
that 5'8"
it shocked me. It shocked me. But Ajeto can jump over me, and that's what makes it fantastic. All right,
Maybe.
here it is. Oh, so this is good. So you're only showing me 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
I mean, all right. So Ajeto, we're kicking this off here.
we
You
are.
have DeGrom, Bieber, Cole. Was there any question about this, or did you really fight this at all?
I think there's a question of. I think you could argue Bieber over DeGrom. I think.
Ooh, spicy.
And that's I think it's pretty spicy, and it's not only because I'm a Bieber stan, but I think it mostly has to do with health, and then it also has to do with I mean, DeGrom has a track record, and that's why I went with him. They're really the only question for Bieber is can he continue to throw, like, I think his curveball percentage is like 23% zone
Sure.
percentage. So can he continue to do that? Can hitters lay off? I think he can because his fastball and curveball mirror so well. But yeah, I don't think it's set in stone. I just don't see Bieber or DeGrom below 2.
Right. Okay. So Cole's a definitive 3 to you.
Yes.
Right. So someone just made the joke that this is your entire list, which I found hilarious. That's it. He's just done the top 3. I hope this was illuminating for everybody. I will say also that your bookmarks are picture list and Fangraphs, so it's a lovely combination.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we got.
Let me slide this over.
Okay.
So
we have Bauer, Darvish, Castillo, Buehler, Giolito, Nola, Scherzer, and if you've heard the talk today, Castillo at 6 is incredibly aggressive over Buehler, Giolito, and Nola. And I'll say I expected you to be down on Bauer too. Let's start with Bauer. Why do you have him at 4?
Well, you know what they say, I'm incredibly aggressive. So for Bauer, I'm buying into the so I think the volume is there, and it's going to be there more than most pitchers. I'm buying into his, and for the record, I think everyone here knows it pains me to say this. But I wrote an article about him at the end of the year, and I was expecting to say, hey, his swinging strike rate sucks. He's going to regress. I do think he's going to regress. Sure. I don't think this batted ball profile is legit because I think his ex-Wobacon was like 300. But also his ex-Woba in general was obscenely low. So I think it's honestly, I think it's an easy call to have him. I don't know why I scrolled down. I think it's an easy call to have him above the other guys, especially like like you Darvish, it's not like Bauer's the healthiest guy ever, but Darvish has huge injury concerns. I mean, you know how we all kind of play doctor when it comes to fantasy baseball. But
Absolutely. Of
by
course,
the
you can't
way,
help it.
this was just a meme or whatever you want to call it. It's not even plugged in. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, you were really committing to that. I was going to mention that. You're still holding it.
Did you believe it?
Amazing. What's that?
Did you believe it?
I did.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Of course
Oh,
not.
you didn't? Oh,
No,
I'm pretty.
no.
I'm gullible, Nick. Don't do this to me. Anyways, so Darvish. I mean, I guess I'm not really done talking about Bauer. Yeah, I believe in the called strike rate. I kind of took I used Eno's list as kind of a framework in a way, because that the stuff and quality of stuff in Command Plus is information that you can't really get in any other place. So
Sure.
there's questions about his command, but he's been getting these called strikes for a long time now. And now he has a fastball that he can lean on, and he didn't have that before. Turns out if you stick your arm deep into a big tub, elbow deep into a vat of foreign substances, your fastball gets better.
Yeah, wow. Look at those vats.
It's crazy.
Man.
So yeah, I just drafted him yesterday. I'm in on Bauer, unfortunately. If anyone from the Werf League is watching this, I'll trade you him.
No, all right. Now, Luis Castillo really is the aggressive one here. I have not seen him above Buehler, Giolito, or Nola, or at least if he has, not all three. And there are some concerns with Castillo in the fact that in the last 3 seasons, his best whip was 114. And he hasn't had an ERA better than 321, which I think all of those names, maybe save for Giolito, have had better ERAs, while Giolito certainly has had a better whip. What drew you to Castillo to put him at 6?
Castillo? Honestly, I think that some of that was influenced by Eno's list. Some of it is Walker Buehler makes me nervous. Slow starter. Dodgers pitcher. Lucas Giolito, Nola, Scherzer, none of them are going at 6. So I won't necessarily say that this is about Castillo being just a world beater. I think he's really good. But I don't think that there are any guys in the tiers 2 and 3 that I think are head and shoulders above Castillo. And honestly, based on just injuries, I think you can make the argument for Castillo at 5, which is where Eno put him.
All right, wow. I'm probably going to be a little more hesitant on it. I don't believe that his fastball command is that great. I think it can go in and out a little bit, which is annoying. I will also say, for both Bauer and Castillo and Gray later, I imagine will be on your list somewhere, the Reds' schedule certainly amplified their beneficial statistics last year when it comes to extra bacon and all that kind of stuff. So I do wonder if that's going to stick around. But hey, 15.4% swing strike rate was right in line with Castillo's 2019 season. The changeup is obviously going to be very good. We don't know what the slider is going to be.
Yeah.
Is it going to be I need to get a strike in the zone pitch? Is it going to be a whiff pitch to, get into the ankles of lefties? Or is it going to be both? I still haven't quite seen it take shape yet. And I like to think that Buehler, Giolito, Nola, Scherzer, they've all showcased, their talent, and it's a little bit of a stronger foundation to stand on. But you know me. I'm a giant
I know you.
Luis Castillo fan. You know me.
I know you.
So I would love if Castillo became the number 6. I think that's great, and I hope it works out. Now, this is all of tier 2 though. So for example, Kershaw not in it. Okay, no. So let's see tier 3 then. Oh, Woodruff coming in hot.
That's what Fast said.
Above Kershaw, Gallen, Flaherty, and Maeda.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
I'm nervous about Kershaw. I'm not that Woodruff is necessarily gonna be injury free, but we've already seen that Kershaw has started to decline. He got his fastball velo back this year. He went to Driveline. But I'm just not going to bet on that. I think is actually a really good target if you're looking for wins. And so I think you could definitely make the argument for getting into tier 2, which who cares? Tiers are arbitrary, as are lists. And so yeah, I mean, I think really the big thing for him is wins, and then if his fastball velocity stays, which we're not going to know before. Well, maybe you will before he drafts. But right now, I'm not taking him over Brandon Woodruff.
Oh man. Okay, so I personally would, as you guys know, obviously. I am. Well, okay. This is an interesting argument that like the amount of innings should be roughly the same. Maybe you want to give Woodruff a slight edge. It's like 175, which would probably be like 180 or so for Woodruff, and then Clayton Kershaw. If this were a non like post pandemic season, right? We would normally be thinking like 175, 180, right? So I think that kind of sticks around for
Yeah.
Kershaw. I want to believe that the ratios should be better for Kershaw, right? Because I mean, last year was a 2 and change, and his worst year was a 302. Like literally, Kershaw has never been bad. And that stability is what has me over Woodruff. But I will acknowledge that like there's an interesting ceiling that Woodruff can still get, and I'm not saying necessarily that ceiling is higher than Kershaw's, but there is a realistic possibility that he achieves it and Kershaw doesn't, right?
Yeah, and the question mark I think is I guess fastball. I think we should probably call it. I don't know if we should call it reversion or regression, but he had a 17 plus swinging strike percentage on his fastball this year. Don't know if that holds up, but if he does pitch as many innings or close as Kershaw, I think it's going to be really close. So
nice.
yeah,
Okay,
and to speak to Justin's comment, he said, "Are we going to talk about seam shifted wake?" That's part of the reason why I like Jack Flaherty is he's Fast and I have talked about him so many times, like in the past year or two, whatever. And I was super down on him. And I was like, it was really when I was starting to kind of lean more into Chamberlain's kind of looking at pitch level, X-Will Bacon and Will Bacon, and kind of regressing it more towards league average and the player's career average. And Flaherty was just a guy. It's like, you can't hold a 215 BABIP. But I think not that, but I think he is a very, very legitimate contact expresser. And it's because I would say of seam shifted wake.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. It's weird that Flaherty's always been at a lower BABIP than we normally see.
It's
it
crazy. I think he's
really
at like
whips.
266.
Yeah, it is weird. And I found myself, there were times that I was like, I'm going to push Jack Flaherty up into the top 10. Just because it really was just one start that really ruined Flaherty last year. And outside of that, even though he wasn't in the same rhythm he had in 2019, or the second half of it, he had like a 3 ERA and change and a 103 whip. Like, even without perfection from Flaherty, right? So
Yeah.
it was, I found myself really, really going back and forth in it just because I really didn't know what kind of Flaherty we'd see. Is what I had him. I think actually where you have him now, 14, maybe 15, but yeah, I'm okay with drafting Flaherty as well.
He's like sexy Zach Wheeler, like in a way.
Sure, well, let's go with that without the goatee, I guess.
Hot and sexy Zach Wheeler.
Is that with the W? It's AW, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure people want to talk about Gallon.
I mean, he's dope.
All right, cool. That's good.
Well, I think the more interesting is that you have Kyle Hendricks in the same tier as, say, Brandon Woodruff and Clayton Kershaw, which I think a lot of people would push back on. A 20% strikeout rate is going to do that.
I guess, but he's just consistently been a contact. Like, his track record is just so strong that it's like, at what point, like, is it even 20? I think it's lower than, Spore just said Hendricks just performs, and he does. Like, until his command regresses significantly, I'm just going to keep taking my shares. Like, he has a 21% K percentage. So I guess you're right. But I'm just that's the glue guy, and I'm taking glue guys.
Okay. All right. For more Gorilla Glue, we go with Gorilla Glue. Tier 4. What do we got? Carrasco, Burns, Glasnow, Gray, Reed. Okay, so say for Burns, this might be even like it's almost in order of who I have after. These four are pretty much grouped together for me. Burns, we've had a lot of debates about Burns, and you're buying the shifts that we saw last year.
I really, really wanted to bring up something that I think got mentioned during the Doug Ellen, the whole panel. And it was talking about how people were really scared of Burns' command. And Eno's talked about this on Rates and Barrels, that his cutter is a 100 command plus pitch. His slider and his fastball, they weren't really good command pitches, and they really continue not to be. Obviously, the four seam's gone. I think the sinker's probably better. The thing for me is, if you look, shouts out to Toby and other people with Batfoot Crazy that do this. If you look and go on rolling graphs and take cutter percentage and I don't know, whatever else you want, you can see that he stopped walking people and started striking more people out when he moved to his cutter. And it's like a pretty huge trend. So I don't think he's a 10% walk guy, especially now. And cutters, I mean, he misses a lot of bats with his cutter, but when it does get hit, it's going to be, pitcher friendly.
Right.
And so I think that he is going to drop his walk percentage. His strikeout percentage is probably going to hold somewhere. It really comes down to how much he can throw that slider, because it was previously one of the best pitches in baseball.
And he threw like 11 to 12% last year.
Yeah. And I almost wonder if the cutter, because there's less differential, like before it was four seam slider, now it's sinker,
cutter,
slider. Yeah, or cutter, sinker, slider. And so I wonder if that's kind of affecting it, but it doesn't really matter, because even if he has three workable pitches, so I'm super in on Burns after I kind of came across that revelation.
And I will also note that innings are going to be weird. I would say of all these guys, Burns will probably have the fewest innings. Maybe you can throw Ryu kind of in there.
Yeah, could be Glasnow.
I mean, Carrasco should have the most, if you ask me. Maybe Gray with there too, but we saw Carrasco go a full season last year. I feel like he's just back to his 190 to 200 self.
Yeah, and I was really going to drop him before. I was actually coming into these rankings really wanting to drop Tyler Glasnow. And I just couldn't do it, because even it's kind of the Syndergaard thing. Although Thor has really good command, he just throws so hard and has, I mean, command plus or quality of stuff doesn't say he has great stuff, but I think we can all say that Glasnow objectively has good stuff. Yes. He just throws so hard that it's, with the curveball, he's going to get ground balls. With the fastball, he doesn't get lit up all the time. Right. So yeah, it's kind of that Thor thing where even if, I guess in a different way, so it's not exactly, but even if the walks are a little too high and if the strikeouts aren't as high as you want, he's not going into games as far as you want. He's just been undeniable. Maybe the league starts to figure him out, but yeah, I wanted to drop him and couldn't. And then Cookie, yeah, I wanted to drop him too, because I was like, oh, he's, he had cancer. He literally had leukemia. He's been out, but after pitching a full season, it kind of mitigates that concern for me. So,
okay. Well, we're going to move on to tier 5 now. And
so,
oh my.
Yeah, baby.
What?
Yeah, dude.
You have Eliezer Hernandez at 38.
I would say that Plesac is probably a little shocking for people. Molly's pretty shocking. And then,
but I mean, if you've heard of Ajeto talk, like, it's not very shocking.
Yeah. Hernandez is amazing. That his fastball, I think slider combo. Yeah, I think it's like a slutter. Really. He's just able to throw in the zone so much. And so it's kind of the same thing as Glasnow. Like if we like Glasnow, maybe we should like Hernandez. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, I'm like
I mean,
I drafted him and I drafted Molly last night. And I was not letting anyone take them from me. I even thought about taking them like 30 picks early because of the nature of my position.
mhm.
Um, but yeah,
So I mean, okay. So really quick on Eliezer here. He threw 6 starts last year, 316 ERA, 101 WHIP, 32% strikeout rate, 13% swing strike rate. Uh, did not go longer than 5.1 innings in any of them. It was one end game of 5.1, 5.5, 4.1, 4, and 2. Does that concern you at all?
I mean, yeah, but um, everyone concerns me this year, Nick. So yeah, I
Okay.
mean, maybe why I think lists are so silly is because there are so many factors that you can't possibly account
Oh
for
yeah.
them. Like there are some guys that I don't like, and maybe I don't like for good enough reasons that I just won't draft. Like I'm just not going to draft us in May, and you'll see later. Um, but yeah, so maybe my bias is creeping in a little bit, but I mean, I guess you'll see once we get to tier 6. It's really
Man.
not that aggressive, I think. I think it's more so there are a lot of people, especially in the 30 to 40 range, that people like that I'm just not drafting.
Well,
So
I think one thing to really take into account with this is I don't see Alcantara here, and I don't see Sixto Sanchez. You're saying that I know I do see Pablo Lopez at 29, which is a bit aggressive as well. As you essentially you take Patrick Corbin's last year and you go, nah, dog, not from me. You're taking you're gone from Zach Wheeler. I'm trying to think of like who's missing from this that are generally in this. Charlie Morin not taking that risk. And you're having fun, man. I'm jealous of this list because like as I mentioned before, this is the year that I'm not taking. I'm not being aggressive on the young guys as I normally am. I'm going to be more conservative in ranking the older veterans. I think we're going to get value out of.
it's all about having fun.
And oh man, you're making the fun ranking. Okay, so Zach Plesac, we've talked a ton about him. I originally had him around there too, so I have nothing really against that one at 24. I think he isn't ultimately a very good pitcher. The question is how much is Cleveland going to let him go? And they certainly let him go last year, but are they going to put a stop? I don't. I hope they don't during the season. Tyler Mahle. Tyler Mahle. It's a constant theme with my criticisms are, well, they didn't really go deep often in 2020.
That
Like in
can
the
I
opportunities that they had, they just didn't. They didn't go long into the games. So we saw these quick snippets of it, and there are two problems with that. One is obviously we just don't have as much of an expression of what they've done, so we don't know how much to believe in it. But it also is often an indication of the ball club that they aren't trusting these pitchers to go deep in games, right? I mean, that's inherently what's going on. And we wonder if we're going to keep that haze in 2021 still. So like for Mahle, I mean, he was pulled in many games a little bit early. Obviously, you get Bauer out of there. Maybe there's a hyper reliance. Same with Anthony Escafani. Bigger reliance on Mahle to go further in. So maybe that is removed. Eliezer, still very weird how the Marlins are treating Eliezer. And I think he's the 4 on that team. Maybe he's above 6, so I guess he's the 3. But it does give concern of like, are they really going to lean into Eliezer or not? And I hope they do. It's just once that slider is not there, it may be a little bit worrisome.
how surprised would you be at the end of the season if Tyler Mahle outperformed Brandon Woodruff?
Very,
Okay. I
very,
wouldn't.
just because of the inning workload and the better foundation I think Woodruff has with his fastball relative to Molly's. Even though I love Molly's fastball, I still think Woodruff's is better
Mahle has better command
according to Command Plus
and me.
and ahead. Okay. All right. Joe Musgrove 26. I like this. We've literally only seen like 2 months of success. That is like the 2 Septembers of 19 and 20.
Sorry.
I really hope that sticks around. I think it is aggressive, of course, but man, I want that to be right. I really do.
Me too.
Um,
I mean,
talked about, yeah.
I don't think it's only just those like couple months of success that he had, but I also think that there's a floor here with him. Like he suffered, from poor ERAs before, but he's moving to the Petco, and also I'd have to look at his numbers, but I don't think he gives up. I don't think he will give up a lot of hard contact, like overwhelmingly, and like the nature of his stuff. He is I'd have to look, but I think of like almost any pitcher in baseball, especially starting pitchers. He has the most robust seam shifted weight profile.
Oh yeah, Musgrove. Yeah, if you saw the Barnes Smith presentation, he
I did
certainly
not.
outlined Musgrove.
Yeah, it's insane. So I believe in him as a contact expressor. I think it's just all health and fastball velo.
Okay.
And using his secondary more.
A couple other things here. Kevin Gausman's a little bit aggressive at 36, but all right, I'm fine with that. Same with Aaron Savali. Dylan Bundy at 28. Now, at the end of the year, last two games, we saw the fastball velo go down, and we've seen a lot of not so good Bundy and very, very small amount of good Bundy. What has you leaning? Yeah, 28. I'm cool with this.
I don't think his home run rate is going to be as suppressed as it was in 2020. But when I was just looking at all the names, I just wanted Bundy more. Like I believe in these changes. He's in a better park now. I think you could probably convince me to drop him. I don't know, like according to my list, to like what 30. Like there aren't a ton of names here. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like I think I'm pretty much expecting people to hate this spot, but his slider's just so good, and his fastball, like it wasn't as big of an issue last year. So yeah, that's a little worrisome, but I don't know. That's also just like, if we're going to talk about being worried after a whole season, it's hard to be super worried about 2 games. But I get it.
Okay. I mean, it was 20% of a season.
Whatever. He's a slider guy, man.
Oh no. I'm all right. Let's move on to the next tier, who I expect to see a lot of the guys missing from this one, but maybe not. We'll see. Oh man.
Yeah.
Walk me through this.
Okay.
Wow.
So
you say Kikuchi over like
Dude.
Patrick Corbin.
Okay. I think it's kind of the same thing as Burns. This is, I will admit, extremely aggressive. Hold on.
How dare
Yancey
you?
Gave me
This
a little request.
pain.
Oops, sorry, I'm hitting my table. Anyways, so Zach Eflin, I'm going with. Thank you, Avery. Zach Eflin, I'm going with because I believe in the called strike percentage. And if he throws that curveball anymore, which he's already done, I think it gives him the whiff pitch that he's been needing, and he could throw it in the zone for called strikes. Because he's kind of used that as like a get me over pitch, which it's not. He could use it as a legit out pitch.
Sure.
So he could change drastically, and obviously I'm not necessarily counting on that, but I'm with the 2020 changes. Andrew Heaney, I don't know, man. I just can't stop. The home run issues just continue to be an issue, but I guess don't hate on me in the comments, but I saw that he got a Rapsodo. So there's
what,
that.
guys?
He's been healthier. His changeup is back. His curveball hasn't been as good, but yeah. So I don't know. I'm just still in. I couldn't like. To me, it just didn't make like. Who am I gonna drop him below? Like Kikuchi?
Yeah.
Not on my list.
No, I mean, that's a separate issue.
It is a separate issue.
When you said it as Kikuchi as the bar, it's a little weird, but then you ignore the ones that are past Kikuchi, aka the ones I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
With Heaney, that's actually a guy that we kind of bonded with.
That is.
And
that's when me and Nick became best friends.
There it is. PitchCon last year, you talked about Heaney as one of the 3 guys that you liked.
I did.
It was Boyd, Heaney, and Bieber, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Great presentation. You can check it out on the YouTube channel.
Thank
And
you.
by the way, before we continue any further about this, go support PitchCon if you can do it. We're trying to raise $10,000. You guys are awesome. This is so much fun talking about this with Ajeto, and I still can't believe I'm staring at 45 Kikuchi here. But we're trying to get to $10,000. We were able to do it last year. Let's raise that money. It's all for a good cause. It's all for this 4-day marathon that we've had. So please do what you can. Hopefully we can hit that $10,000 mark. We only have 2.5 hours left. We got this. I believe in this community. Let's rally together and let's do this.
I believe.
I believe too. But yeah, you have Heflin over Zach Wheeler. So what is it about Zach Wheeler that you're just not buying?
Well, he had like a 16% K percentage last year. I don't know. I'm like so it's weird. I'm pretty high on Zach Wheeler in general, but for this year, like I want to see like the changes that I wrote about. I said that, his career arc and just his tools, it was pretty akin to like Garrett Cole. Obviously, like I didn't expect him to be Garrett Cole, but I did see like, if he can elevate his fastball a little more for swinging strikes instead of letting balls be put into play, if he can use his secondaries more, like there's a lot here. And not only that, but he's probably the best contact suppressor of starting pitchers outside of who's the first one? What? Are you shaking?
Why is he at 43 then?
Because Nick, you just hated on me for putting Kyle Hendricks at 19.
Then why is there a giant gap?
Because he just had a 16% K percentage and he gets hurt.
Like 4 points worse than Hendricks.
Hey. Has his IL percentage 90 plus, so I don't trust him.
Oh, you expect him to get hurt?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I'm just trying to understand the gap here. I don't believe in Eflin's strikeout rate. I wish that curveball shows up all the time, but it only was over 10% in half of his starts from last year, which makes me feel a little bit worried that all of a sudden he's just going to turn it on and like have it in every start. But we'll see what happens there. Kikuchi, I mean, I enjoy this. I remember seeing the increased velo and the new cutter, and it looked promising, and then it just didn't. The one worry I have about this, if you draft Kikuchi, how long are you willing to stick with it when he's going through tough opponents in the beginning? Are you just going to still throw him out there and hope for the best? Or are you going to stash him? What's your plan here?
I'm a bad, like lazy in-season manager. So usually I try and target guys that I can just like plug and play. Mm-hmm. I would probably write it out, to be honest, instead of like streaming or whatever. But it depends on the opponent. Like if he's going to Coors, I'm probably not gonna do it. I will say, back to my earlier point, you probably rudely cut me off.
I'm sure I did.
I think it might be a Corbin Burns thing. I was actually gonna reach out to Eno and see at the pitch level what his kind of pitches looked like, and then kind of confirm myself. But I think he just needs to move towards pitches that he can command better. And he came into this offseason with new mechanics. So I wonder if another offseason and everything, if that'll change. So he had like a 330 FIP, Nick.
I mean, I wish it works. I really do.
And Alex Chamberlain's leaderboard has his deserved walk percentage at like 7. So it's looking good. It's looking predictive, y'all.
Well, let's go to 46 and beyond here into tier 7.
All right.
See who we got.
There they are.
At 53. Okay, so this is okay. All right. This is the tier of I don't want none of this, but fine, I have to rank them somewhere.
That's exactly what this is.
Yeah. So I assume with Strasburg you just don't believe the injury. Like he's actually going to be okay.
Yeah, and I actually would jump. I would not jump James Paxton. I like James Paxton. I would probably drop him and put Kluber up, and I might raise Corbin and Morton too. So yeah, I'm not really, unless these guys fall to here. I'm not really wanting them. So.
I want to say something really quickly. I bombarded aggressively one night into Plaid as Ajeto was working on his rankings. And I noticed that he initially was using some ADP or something just to get a list of guys. And I said, I don't want you to be biased on this. I don't want you to see this and then change your ranking, anything like that. What I'm seeing today, Ajeto, is 100% exactly what I wanted. Right?
Because
I'm not seeing anything of like bias of like, oh, people like him, so fine, I'll put him up here. There is no semblance of that here, and that's fantastic.
I mean, for the record, the point of this list is to talk through it with you, create dialogue, not to say Charlie Morton is exactly the 52nd best starting pitcher in MLB.
Whose voice is that? Whose voice are you imitating there?
It kind of felt kind of Aziz Ansari from Master of None.
That's what I think of when I think of getting serious about fantasy baseball.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just the closest. I don't know. Not that many people sound like me. I'm not DVR. I don't have a good voice.
Oh man, DVR is over.
Unless I get up in here.
Yeah, you gotta. Wait, what are you doing? Get up there all the time.
Okay, fine.
Wait. Are you telling me that mic you're holding is not the real mic?
No, it is the real mic. I just need to get it closer.
Are you the real mic? All right. Corey Kluber 48, Urias at 49, Paddock at 50. So I understand this. Paddock's fastball was terrible last year, and there was a tweet that went out today about showcasing to Paddock, be like, "Hey, spin axis was off. Like that was your problem," and he was really illuminating. He was finally embracing the analytics, which is great. And you're pretty much saying, look, like it was terrible last year. I don't believe that's gonna get any better.
I do want to say Rob Silver was hating on me. Shouts out to Rob Silver. Because he was basically saying like this is like a best shape of his life story. And I couldn't push back because I was like, Paddock has already had an elite fastball and had that spin efficiency. He spun it really well. Mm-hmm. And then it just went away. So this is not a difficult thing to correct. Yancey in the comments says I'm out on Paddock. I'm definitely out on Paddock. I think he found his curveball. I think that curveball that he had in 2020 was good. I think going to either the curveball or cutter, I think probably the curveball is what hecked up his fastball release point and thus fastball ride. So, yeah, he has maybe 3 pitches. We'll have to see with the fastball. I think that curveball is going to be really good if he gets the fastball back, but he has maybe 3 pitches. He still has a home run issue. There's too much to bank on. So I don't really love him.
Well, the one thing I will say was that even though it was a terrible season, right? 473 ERA, had that messed up fastball. Paddock still had a 24% K rate and a 122 whip. And there is a thought that like Paddock is still going to improve in some way. Like he's not going to be that bad. He's understood that there is a problem and is working to address it. Not saying it's going to be the 2019 .98 whip and 27% K rate. Like we don't think that's going to stick around, but I don't know. I wonder where he does land, and I have to think that it will be productive. So I'm a little different on this one.
Where do you have him? 40? 30?
34?
You're crazy.
I'm low on him, I think. I mean, keep in mind, Paddock was like the top 20 pick entering last year.
Yeah.
So I think I had him around like 26 or something. I don't know. I don't even remember. Anyway, we're going to move on here.
Can I make a point about Sixto real quick?
Yeah, of course.
I think it really matters that like if you are going to have a low K percentage, like you've got to have pretty elite, just not strikeout numbers.
Command, right.
And so, yeah, like the reason why I have Hendricks at 19 is because there aren't any, I'm trying to think, other pitchers that can do that. So I'm willing to take.
Sorry. What?
Bless you.
Thanks.
So I'm willing to do that besides pretty much just for Hendricks. Anyways, we'll go to.
And by the way, Wheeler doesn't have the whip that Hendricks does, so that wasn't even fair. All right, let's go to tier 8.
I hate you. All right.
For me.
So there's Lamet.
Wow.
Wow. I have like the Owen Wilson hair and like kind of the messed up nose. I feel wow.
Okay.
Someone clip that.
So
Anyways.
First of all, you're just terrified of injury. You just think the Lamet's just done.
Man, those comments about where he was at, like last year, like his elbows like hanging by a thread, and he claims that he's 100%, but like I don't know. I'm
Sure.
super. So I would have him. I would say about 16th if he were healthy and I knew he was
Hmm.
going to throw like 150 innings.
Okay.
But I don't know that, so I'm gonna wait on Lamette until 54.
Now 55 though is Brady Singer, and you've talked about this a bit, but remind everybody what you like in Singer.
So basically, Singer is an elite strike thrower. He's someone who, um, I think, because of the seam shifted wake on his sinker, he gets a lot of called strikes on his pitches, which leads to a pretty good CSW. The thing with him though is that I wrote an article and the title is something like Brady Singer is an elite and below average strike thrower, and that's because he's an elite strike thrower in non two
Right.
strike counts. So in every count except two strike counts, he's like 90 plus percentile, like I think like 98 percentile at throwing strikes. But when it gets to two strikes, when it's time to put the hitter away, he drops to like the 38th percentile or something. So he currently doesn't have an out pitch. He has nothing where he can get hitters to chase. It's a little surprising that the slider isn't a little bit more of that pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he uses his sinker too much or something like that. But yeah, right now I kind of think of him as Eflin without the curveball in a way. At least like in two strike counts. So I'm a believer. I think actually this is maybe a little high, but um, I'm super down on Singer.
You're okay. You're high on Singer, and you're down for him.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
down.
I do worry about the ability to put batters away. And from what I watched from him, it didn't seem very much like he pounded the zone a lot. And he did get some favorable opponents. I don't know. It all seems very fragile. To put it like that. Like
Well,
it
aren't we
doesn't.
all?
Yeah, there we go. But I love the idea that he's able to get a lot of strikes confidently with his sinker. And
Oh,
it's too close to a Toby for me. If he's not gonna get the strikeouts, then I can't
yeah.
depend on the whip and ERA being there.
He's working on a changeup, and the thing that I get really annoyed about is we talk about all these best shape of his life stories,
Mm-hmm.
and pitchers that throw heavy fastballs or sinkers, it's super hard for them to have good changeups because unless you're Kyle Hendricks, like because they can never get the movement differential. Kyle Hendricks is one of the like lone guys because he has like 11 miles per hour between his fastball and his changeup. So he goes with a velocity differential, and I think that's what guys with sinkers and heavy fastballs need to do. So I don't think that changeup's really going to help Singer aside from maybe being another like show me pitch, add
Sure.
another pitch. Um, but yeah,
So we have a couple new donations. We're up to $7,500. Mark Agnes, Jason Beckner, John Metzelar, Eddie Dudek, Todd Hope, Chris Blessing, anonymous supporters Ben Brown, Derek Van Riper, Kyle Bishop, the Ishikawa family, Brian Belknap, Frank Stanfill, who wanted to be here and couldn't make it, unfortunately. Brent Hershey, Nicholas Mariano, Haley Murphy, Scott Genstad, really Joel Hennard. Thank you all so much. We're getting there. We're close. We're $2,500 away. We can do this, right? We got 2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours. We want to give away all these amazing prizes, and we're almost there. But this is fun. I get to. This is such an intriguing list to me, and I'm seeing every point you're making. Lists are stupid, as you said before. They really are, and it says
Which
the
is why
person
we
who created
named
a site called Pitcher
our
List
website after them.
because that's what it's just the
I
easiest, most
know.
digestible, quick thing to do.
Yeah.
What I want to call it is like sproundups.com, but because that I think is a real better telling story. But this is a really fascinating list. You have Spencer Turnbull at 56.
Yeah,
You guys
baby.
have known, my thoughts on him. Ajeto, what has he pushing him pretty high here?
So yeah, the peripherals and outcomes, well, mostly the outcomes haven't been great. I'm a believer in the four seam sinker mix. Eno wrote him up in an article about how it's that's the difference between inferred and observed spin. they look the same until they don't, and so I think that's going to help them play up. I think these guys inherently are contact expressors. I think if he starts to get more whiffs with the secondaries, that he's going to be super super legit. I've been on Turnbull for a year or two, so yeah, I think I think he's another guy that can get kind of more called strikes sustainably.
Well, I hope he cuts that sinker finally because it's driving me nuts.
I like it.
Uh, what? What?
Yeah,
What?
I'm gonna create a rival website called Sinker List.
But you,
It's just a list of sinkers.
how
Nick,
dare
are we
you?
gonna make it to 100? Someone asked.
We'll get there.
I
Zach
think
Davies is
Zach.
61. I think you're embracing his changeup. I like that. Also, he has 2 Pirate
Thanks.
starts to start the year, so that's cool. All right, let's go to tier 9 here.
All right.
Let's get going.
Way.
Oh man, right. Totally forgot. Lance McCullers. You're like, nah, bro.
He's
Why?
never pitched like 130 innings. Why is he gonna do it now?
Contract year.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's a good rebuttal, Nick. Maybe I'll move him up into tier 8. Yeah, I don't know. He has some new pitches that apparently are interesting. The cutter or whatever. I don't know. And Glass Cobra, we get excited about Zach Davies because he throws a changeup a heck ton.
40%.
Yeah. So that was a newer thing. That was pretty cool. I really like high floor guys. I think they're underrated in fantasy.
So not speaking of high floor guys is Luke Weaver.
Yeah,
at
baby.
70. So
Yeah.
I love this.
Thank you. Let me pull up his fan graph. I just saw an interesting note. I believe he was hurt. Okay, so he's focusing on consistency of his mechanics, and he lost his slider last year.
Mhm.
So yeah,
you're talking about the cutter pitch that he had?
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess he calls it a slider, which is weird. But anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh, his fastball. He has a fastball that is like could be really, really good. It's one of the kind of flat vertical approach angle fastballs. He's got a good changeup. If he gets that slider back, which I wrote about like I don't know, a year and a half ago, I'm super in on Weaver, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, if he has that pitch to steal strikes in the zone, I think it made everything come together just like the rug from the dude. You have John Means at 66, a little low. And now, I don't want to see this. Get out of here, tier 10.
All right.
Drew Smiley, soggy arm no more at 63. Chris Bassett, ratio chasing there. I mean, all this really makes sense. I understand where you're coming from with all of it. So nothing too much. I mean, you're not really buying though the resurgence of John Means while you're buying into all these other guys.
What was it? He had a stronger end of the year. It's hard for me to buy guys who pitch in Camden. I think maybe let's go back one.
So that's a Baltimore bias.
Yeah, I think I could put him around Turnbull. That's not super crazy. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Okay.
What you
All
saw
right,
from
let's
him
go.
initially.
No. I was like, what do you think of John Means? I could put him around someone else. No. No, Camden. Okay, you're worried about the long ball with him.
Yeah.
All right, tier 10. Let's see what we got. So you finally established the injured tier. I think the setback from Sale is what you're pushing him farther back.
Yeah, it's super scary. I mean, if you get those innings, they're going to be elite. You can stash him, but at this point, after that, I'm just like, man, it's really a headache. And yeah, I mean, he's more exciting than some, but there's still guys that are exciting here, like Mitch Keller. So that's kind of why I put him behind. Griffin Canning. I'm going to be honest. I don't necessarily know what to feel about him. He has me just going every which way.
All right. Okay. I mean, I really enjoy the 3-pitch mix of Griffin Canning, but it's just one of those things we don't know what we're gonna get out of it. I mean, the PRP injection is not.
Yeah.
It's not something that really makes you last for a full year. So I hope we get to see more of him, but it does feel like he's gonna be constantly battling something else that's gonna prevent him from getting that rhythm and command. Even though it is a nice 3-pitch mix. It's interesting to see Josh Lindblom at 74 with Matthew Boyd, Keller, Soroka, Price below him.
That's kind of weird. Like I generally try and group pitchers together that like put, I guess, to run with this dumb example, Hendricks with Wheeler and the like. But Lindblom, like, he struck out a lot of hitters. He didn't walk too many, and even though the projections think he's going to give up a ton of home runs, he didn't. So I think he's kind of a sneaky guy. I actually made fun of someone in one of my dynasties for picking him up and paying a lot of money for him, but I hope you're not watching, Ryan.
I
Yeah.
hope you are watching, Ryan. You should be here. It's PitchCon.
Yeah.
But really, really quickly, just Soroka, how worried are you about the innings, or do you just feel that he's an injury-prone guy through the year, even when he does return to the mound?
I think both. I think, again, I think he's a legitimate contact presser, but his strikeouts could be even lower than Hendricks's. So he's kind of just a poor man's version of Hendricks that isn't necessarily going to be healthy and isn't, aside from health, isn't necessarily going to throw a lot of innings. So man, Braves pitchers this year is pretty scary.
All right. Well, we're going to move on. You have 19 left, and we have about 5 minutes. So
sure do.
It's your 11. You've got the Toby of all Tobys, Dallas Keuchel at the top. We don't know where Odorizzi's going. We don't know what we're going to see out of Pearson. Is there anyone that really sticks out here? Not too much, honestly. I mean, you are a bit low on Gonsolin and May. You just don't want to deal with Dodgeritis.
Yeah, no, not at all. I think no. Tark Skubal could be pretty interesting. I'm not like super dying to have him. I think, I mean, when we get to this point, all these guys arguably could be left off the list. Like, there are so many guys that could get thrown to the back, but
I mean, I would say Keuchel should be a benefit for you. He really showcased himself well with Grandal last year.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know me. Don't draft Toby's, but if you
I know
need
you.
one, you know me. I keep saying that.
12?
Yeah. Do you know me?
I know
What's
you.
that?
12?
12.
All right.
JD Brubaker gets a shout out. You have Shohei Ohtani here. Michael Lorenzen gets on there. Oh, I love number 100. Did you do that for me?
I did it for you and Fast and myself. I'll say I did it for you.
That's exactly how you should do everything. That's good.
70% you. What's math? 29% Fast, 1% me. Brubaker's really interesting. I don't know how you feel about him, but I think he's like a pretty low key type of guy that just might be like super steady.
Well, we kind of like Brubaker. Good slider, sinker that should get outs. I see him more as a streamer type as opposed to someone I actually want to be drafting in 12 teamers. Yeah. But there is something there, and I remember actually independently, Fast and I like messaging each other, be like, "Hey, Brubaker, huh?"
Hey,
you know, that was back in September. I think he said, "I kind of like Brubaker." I was like, "Yes,
yeah.
Brubaker." So hopefully there is something that he can add to that repertoire to make it more of a consistent play. Chris Flexen.
Yeah, baby.
Now, you might want to know that Michael Ajeto is in Washington State. But still, he's coming back. And do you really think that there are some massive changes that can make him a worthy starter?
I mean, I think it's pretty interesting that Ben Howell of Pitcherlist tweeted this out, but he put up one of the best KBO seasons ever, which I think some people might roll their eyes at, but he has actually a fastball that has pretty decent characteristics. It's not very hard, but if he continues, because he didn't really even do it perfectly in the KBO, if he keeps throwing fastballs at the top of the zone and throws curveballs at the bottom of the zone, or below the zone rather, I think he has the makings of a guy that can have a good fastball, can flip curveballs in the zone for strikes and for whiffs, which will help in 2-strike counts also. But he also has other pitches that are workable too. So I'm super in on Flexen for the time being. And if he gets booted out of a starting spot, I think he might be a pretty good multi-inning reliever. I don't want to deal with Shohei Ohtani this year. I didn't even really want to throw him on the list, but I guess he's just too good not to. If I have Sale, why don't I have Ohtani? Lorenzen, I think, has a lot of good characteristics, and I think he can actually, again, I wanted to write an article stating the case for TJ Antone over Lorenzen, and I came away kind of thinking that Lorenzen actually might be the better fit. But I think they're both really good pitchers. I don't know that they're both really good starting pitchers. I think Antone could be. I think Lorenzen could be. Let's see. Caleb Smith just needs that velo, needs to get rid of that dinger problem. But
And
man, he
showed
was
it
so good.
briefly last year. Just hopefully he can hit the reset button properly and have a good 2021.
For whatever reason, he's getting a chance in a starting rotation. So.
All right, so we got about 1 or 2 minutes. If anyone has a specific question that you want Ajeto to ask, I'll ask this right now. Was there anyone that you wanted inside the top 100 that you just had to cut?
I had, for a minute, I had Archer. I can't remember. I had Archer and a couple players. I have the list all right here.
Well, you're going to put this out as an article, I assume.
Too. I am.
Good.
Which no,
starting pitchers? Yeah, I'll put it up here. And which starting pitchers in his top 100 do you think will make the biggest jump by year's end?
I think just inherent of like it's going to be someone in the back just by percentage, you know. I think there's a good chance that Flexen, because he has a spot confirmed. I kind of still think Boyd. I don't know. We fall for it every year, but it sounds like he's aware of his issues. And I don't think he was pitching fully healthy. I think those are a couple of my guys. Weaver, I really like. So yeah, I would say them.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, oh man, I would love if Weaver all of a sudden became like
I'm a believer. Yeah, I'm a believer.
Yeah, I think we've forgotten about him a good amount. I have him right outside the 100 because he's not someone out of the gate that I'm going to trust. But there are a lot of pitchers, and Flexen is now one of them. He's going to be on my list, or at least on my radar, maybe on the list soon. Where I'm going to monitor those first couple starts and really see if there's something there. There certainly are guys that I'm just kind of like, I don't really care what you do. I'm going to ignore you, but not Flexen now.
I think it's really important to answer Jake's question. If Yancey were a pitcher, he would be number one because out of all the girls at school, he's the only one I like.
You've said that to me
I
many
haven't,
times.
Nick. I have not. I just want to finish basically with saying that I'm not trying to be hot takey. This is just how I feel about a lot of pitchers, and sometimes you get lost in the weeds with your analysis, and there's just so many things to take into consideration. But I hope that this created some dialogue and hopefully formed some, shapes your perspective and opinions about other players, especially you, Nick, because you're going to be making some more lists. So I'm gonna
be thinking hard about this because, I mean, I'm jealous in so many ways. Exactly what I was saying before, like. You certainly take some chances, but you are exposing like, these guys could be this good.
Yeah.
And, I try to limit the opportunities that I can like completely bust on my list. Because I think like that's kind of what we're targeting for people is like, hey, we don't, we're trying to get a good guide for everybody in their drafts. And if I like say like, no, this guy's going to be 21 and then like he's absolutely worthless. And it's like, well, that hurts your team,
Yeah.
But man, I see a lot of this. I'm like, oh, that's really fun, and I wish I could have done that. Like I would love to put Corbin Burns like 20 and Plesac right there too, and then push down like Greinke and Corbin. I'm like, I'm done with y'all, and and
people will be mad at you.
Chances.
They'll hate on me, but they would be madder at you. So, yeah, I'm gonna post this coming up soon. I'm gonna make some tweaks based on what I've talked about. I'll look into it further, but thanks for watching, everyone. I hope Chamberlain. He's next, right? I hope he's shirtless. Yes. If he is, bring me back.
I can see Chamberlain now. I'll keep the suspense, but stop shaking your head, Alex.
Sorry, buddy.
But no, I was really looking forward to this. I kind of just tasked you with this out of the blue, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess.
Okay.
And the fact that you put it together in time, props to you, man. It's not easy to make these, guys. I highly recommend make your own top 100. It is not an easy feat, and it really is illuminating for yourself, I think, once you're forced to do it, how you actually feel about certain guys. So, Ajeto, thank you so much for being a part of this. This was a fantastic presentation. And I hope every single time you make an appearance now, it's with that microphone.
Yeah, it's my little sister's. I think I'm going to take it.
You wouldn't be a good older brother if you didn't take something from your little sister, right?
It's true. All right.
No, don't do that to your siblings. And good to have you here, Ajeto.